So Ryan, one of the things I'm concerned about with C-71 is that the current government has actually passed the legislation, we put it into committee, but it looks to me like there won't be adequate time to get the number of experts testifying about the implications of C-71. So I'm just wondering if you could share with me and to all Canadians, what are some of the major concerns you have that could actually criminalize law-abiding gun owners, farmers and hunters, and do nothing to increase the safety of Canadians in their communities?
Well, Harold, we know looking at this bill that there's nothing contained in C-71 that actually goes after criminals, that actually goes after the gangs, and that's a big concern amongst the law-abiding firearms community because we want to see more money put towards guns and gangs units so the criminals are actually being punished. What we're seeing, though, with this bill is, again, it's law-abiding citizens that are being targeted. It's the people that go through a licensing process, it's the people that take the Canadian Firearms Safety course, undergo an extensive background check.
Just want to stop you on that point. So you talked about licensing, so it's my understanding that to buy a gun, you have to have a license.
You must have a license, and no matter what is said by any individual, as a gun store, we need to see that license at the time of purchase. If I don't identify that person as being a licensed firearms owner, it's my livelihood and my life, because I'm going to go to jail for it if I sell somebody a gun without seeing a license.
Now, what if I, as a PAL owner, sell my gun to another licensed person? Right now, that's acceptable as long as the seller and the purchaser are both licensed.
That's correct.
But my understanding is with C-71, you will now need to call someone to actually register that transaction.
Yes.
So is that a concern?
It's a concern because essentially what it adds up to is it adds up to being a registry. Despite what the current government is saying, having us keep our record books, and as a business, we've been in business for 25 years, we've always kept records of firearms we have sold to individuals. But now we're actually going to have to take that extra step of letting the RCMP know that somebody has purchased a firearm. Well, we do know that based on that reference number, they can come back and look at our books and see there's a transaction associated. So not calling this a registry is a bit of misleading information because you are registering the transaction. Now what it also does, it also tells the government how many firearms our customers are actually buying. Because each time we have to call in for that reference number, they know that person's bought a gun. So they may not be taking down manufacturer at the RCMP's level, we're taking it at ours, and they're requiring us to take it at ours and keep those records for 20 years. But they are knowing how many firearms somebody is buying.
Right. The other thing that concerns me, or a potential concern, and I want you to address it, is let's suppose there is that transaction between two licensed gun owners and they sell the guns, but they aren't aware of what's going on in Parliament. They don't follow the news channel that covers Parliament. They don't know the law has changed. I'm concerned that those two people doing that transaction could innocently now be afoul of the law and could actually end up with a prison term.
Yes, because under this new legislation, you'll have to call in and acquire a reference number for that transaction to a private individual. Right now, private individuals are able to show each other their licenses, verify that they're valid, because your firearms license is one of the few pieces of identification you have after being given the opportunity to own it by the government. It's one of those few things that will actually be taken away from you physically if you lose your license. The chief firearms officer in your local area will come and take your license from you if you've lost it. So if that person has their license, we already know it's valid.
Right. And that person has gone through a stringent security check, checking with their spouse or their intimate partner to make sure there are no psychological or emotional issues that might be a red flag in terms of gun ownership. Is that correct?
That's correct. Okay. So if you're a private citizen and you have your license, and I'm a private citizen and I have my license, I show you my license, you show me your license, we complete the transaction, it's done. Now, your riding specifically, your riding has a lot of the Mennonite population in our area who probably is not paying attention to the firearms laws, and they are transactions with firearms all the time.
On their farms?
On their farms. One farmer might sell a gun to another farmer. Now, are they going to be knowing enough information to know that they have to do this properly and acquire that transaction?
So it sounds like a lot of red tape, which isn't going to do anything.
And turning law-abiding citizens into criminals with just a simple piece of paperwork.
Right. I hope we have an opportunity to further get your input to the committee. So we'll ask you to do a brief and maybe tell them some of your concerns. So thanks a lot, Ryan.
No problem.
Thanks.
Yeah, most competition should